So today we're going to be covering peer relationships in the context of the classroom. So what are peer relations? Peer relations or peer relationships are the relationship between students and children of various demographics and age groups, just that they share a similar age. So peer relationships contribute to social development. So the more students age, the more they become interested in peer relationships and the forming of friendships. Now, this can be both positive and negative. Though positive can be seen as forming friendships, negative can also be seen while children develop. They can see what peers they don't want to engage with, what activities they don't find positive and engaging, and which groups they do want to take part in. So in the classroom context, so the classroom is a very social place, and it's one of the first places children begin to grow and develop social relationships besides in their own family dynamics. So the families, their first interaction between how different social interactions happen, and then that shift when they move into the classroom. So in the classroom, gaining peer acceptance is very important for classroom learning and achievement. So it can contribute to motivation, so extrinsic motivation of wanting to do better by receiving praise from both teachers or other classmates, and also being reinforced with those positive behaviors by seeing outcomes as other students wanting to also do well in class or also be engaging in the same material as you. And it also allows for more group collaboration and engagement on various subjects. So when peers are accepting and working together, they're more likely to engage and collaborate on various subjects, especially if they do have a common interest within those subjects. So what do peer relationships do? One of the main things is that they help children learn and practice social skills. Peer interactions are on an equal field of power, which help them navigate new forms of relationships. So this is a different power dynamic than of parents and teachers. So they're used to not holding the same amount of power in various relationships that they are growing up within. And so it's a completely new experience for peers, for children to be able to be equals with their peers. So by allowing for this equality within the power dynamic of the relationships, it allows them to develop skills in negotiation, in persuasion, cooperation, emotional skill, control, conflict resolution, and compromise. So peers offer social and emotional support as well. So there's a shift from just seeing them as a playmate or a source of entertainment to the individual providing comfort and safety. They shift towards seeing more as a safe place. So now this allows different students and children to confide on issues that others may be also experiencing, especially seen in adolescence when there is more of a worry about their body or concerns about the opposite sex, especially due to their changing bodies, and having that acceptance of that body tends to be something that youth can struggle with. And by confiding in each other, it also helps them engage and see that they're not the only ones going through this, and that it also helps avoid them being isolated from their peers once they're able to open up and share similar experiences, concerns with each other. Another thing it can do is it also has protection from others. So allowing for that social group and having those peers with you can also be a thing, help with something like bullying. So by having a bigger group, you're more likely to get bullied when you are isolated or you don't have that social support in place. Having that social group also allows for them to confide in if they are experiencing bullying, more likely to confide in a peer who also has a similar experience than necessarily going towards a teacher, because it can be, again, that's a different power dynamic that they're experiencing. And another huge thing that peer relationships are they're agents of socialization. So they set and follow trends, and act in various ways that are deemed appropriate for their various age ranges. So having the peers are able to delegate kind of what is in, what is not, and how they should be acting depending on their age. So this can be looking at something like trends, what is popular, not only with how to look, but also how to behave at certain ages. And it also can be for role models. So looking at peers who are doing well, necessarily in school, or who are very social, they're going to look, and other children are going to look at those children as role models because they also want to achieve that form of socialization. And you also come in within the socialization is the peer pressure, which is being strongly encouraged towards a certain behavior and discouraged towards a different behavior. Now, in relation to peer pressure, it can be both positive and negative. So peer pressure can also encourage positive behaviors such as classroom engagement or participating in extracurricular activities, and discouraging behaviors that are seen as less positive, such as risky behavior or delinquency. But it can also be turned around. So depending on which peer group those children are a part of, peer pressure can also contribute to the risky behavior and delinquency, depending on which peer group that child is a part of. Now, using these social structures in the classroom. So we want to use these social structures in a way that is going to be a positive. So encouraging positive behavior in the classroom can help facilitate a more overall engagement of the class. So some of these examples is having a consequence be for the entire group if one person acts on, not only plays on the pressures that students feel to be accepted by their peers, but it also plays in with the social acceptance. So children are going to be less likely to act out if they know that they're going to upset their peers as a whole, which can help lead to more engagement and for the children to be behaving in the classroom as you would prefer them to. And then also there's the peer pressure to be engaging in the classroom activities to benefit the class as a whole. So again, touching similar to the idea of setting a consequence, also having a reinforcement, having something positive come out if the class is engaged, allows that kids are going to be more likely to be engaged if it's going to benefit the class as a whole and lead to being more peer acceptance and engagement overall. So now kind of touching on the classroom engagement and why it is important. So better relationships with both peers and teachers will help with overall classroom engagement, which is super important. So because engagement can be a protective factor for stopping students from engaging in their adolescence to things like skipping school, gang involvement, delinquency, and risky sexual behavior. So these things can also stop negative consequences in the future if you have that in classroom engagement earlier on. And then engagement also helps towards a better outlook on education and further continuing and success in the future towards education. So again, getting those peer relationships positive and creating a good classroom environment is going to help not only avoid really negative outcomes, but also help and push students towards having a positive future. So some of the effects if you have negative peer relationships is that one of the biggest things is it can lead to isolation. So low self-esteem and dropping out of school, which later in life can go back onto those engagement in adolescence of gang involvement or delinquency or risky sexual behavior. And the negative relationships can deteriorate classroom engagement and overall class environment as well. So having those conflicts or having them not engage, the majority of your students not engaged due to the fact that they have poor relations with each other, can deteriorate the class environment as a whole and affect not only those various or small amount of students involved, but also the whole student body of the classroom. Now, some of the positive things within positive peer relations is positive peer relations tend to be intrinsically motivated. So they're beneficial for both parties involved, and they tend to be motivated just solely on the fact that it is positive for both peers or whoever the amount that is involved, and that also helps contribute to them wanting to continue that because it is something that makes them feel good. And so looking at the positive peer relations, you can break them down into 3 factors. So there's the relatedness, competence, and autonomy. So in relatedness is the need to be connected to others or larger social groups. Competence is the need to feel competent in a social environment by themselves and others. And autonomy is also the need to be in control of oneself and produce things independently. Now, in regards to relatedness, it's prompted by warmth and undermined by rejection. Competence is promoted by structure and undermined by chaos, and autonomy can be promoted by autonomy support by others and undermined by lack of support. So in order to foster this positive peer engagement and peer relations within the classroom is providing a nurturing and warm environment. So allowing students to share experiences and listen to one another and engage in discussions leads to them being more likely to feel like they belong and are understood, and can contribute to their need for relatedness, forming bonds with others. And another thing is you can contribute to the structure of the classroom. So this is touching on competence. So students need to practice communicating and giving and receiving feedback, modeling academic competencies, resolving conflicts, and providing help and advice. So allowing time within the classroom for students to develop these skills can help lead to their competence in many areas of their social development. And then also giving them an opportunity to create shared academic goals and behavior standards for their classroom also gives them competence. So it's allowing them to not only just follow rules that are provided, but also giving them opportunities to create those, to reflect on what they believe to be positive and negative in the classroom, which can help with a deeper understanding of the positive and negative outcomes within our classroom. And then also, it can also fostering positive peer engagement. So peers can help contribute to each other's autonomy when they're given the opportunity to share their viewpoints of each other. So when they're able to work together, examine and challenge their own beliefs, and navigating school projects can help them develop their sense of independence as students, which again leads to further positive outlook for their future in the academic world. And when all their needs are met, so when those needs of relatedness, competence, and autonomy are met, they're more likely to engage within the classroom, which is going to lead towards more of a positive future. So overall, just to review, peer relationships are vital for classroom engagement, and the more positive the peer relations are, and there's more positive peer engagement with each other, the more positive the environment, both academically and socially, are going to be on the students, as well as have effect on the teacher's ability to teach and share the knowledge with the students. So engaging in various things such as nurturing warm environment and contributing to structure of the classroom, and allowing them to work on their autonomy are all going to contribute to more positive educational experiences in the future for those students and children, and also help them continue their social development in order to engage in peer relationships later. So here at the end, you can see the references shared, and thank you for your time. Thank you. Bye.